This is a channeled message from the angels about the importance of failure. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. If this is your first time, I'm Ann Tucker and welcome. I am a trance channel. I channel from the angelic realm. That means I raise my awareness up as high as I can go and then a little bit higher, and I connect and the messages start to come through. And I dictate, write them down, and I transcribe them here for you guys on YouTube. And today's message is it's about failure, but from a unique perspective, from the angel's perspective. They explain why it happens. And this was really interesting for me specifically because this past week, I actually made an offer on a house this past week and I didn't get the house. And the angels had kind of given me, when I said, okay, should I go for this house? They'd kind of given me like a, you can kind of an answer. It wasn't like a, absolutely, this is the one. It was like, yeah, you can make an offer on that house. So, and they will do that with a lot of stuff. They'll be like, you can. And I assume it's because we have free choice. And there's a lot of things in our life that are not predetermined. It's just like, do you like this one or do you like that one? So I assume it's that. So, but then it doesn't when I don't get the house. So you wonder, like, why is that? Why, like, if they could have told me not to do it, right? And this is not the first time that's happened. This happens like that sometimes, where you go for something and it doesn't work out. And we all experience that, where you pursue something and it doesn't happen for some reason. And maybe you have disappointment at the end of that. And so, and I feel okay about this house because it was sort of my first, well, anyways, that's a whole nother story. I'll go into that. But my point being, why do we fail? Why does it matter? And I didn't actually ask the angels, but they used that experience in my life for the message for today. And they have a phenomenal explanation. And I feel like I had a sort of intuitive knowing of how this was happening, but having the angels specifically describe it is so enlightening and helpful in terms of grasping it. So anyways, I hope it's helpful to you guys too. I will go ahead and start in with the message. So here it is. So they say, how you're developing here now becomes into new, seconding only that part of yourselves that rises higher than this plane. You begin knowing your happenstance beginnings. Your creation here does take turn. It bedevils and confuses your mind. This is on purpose. There is a chain of happenings that unfold with intent, but we must separate your mind from how they do arrive. We must permeate your existence with mystery. So really the important thing to take from this paragraph is they're saying that there is in our lives a chain of happenings, that there is a specific structure laid out to our lives that we plan before getting here. So they call it, they said there's a chain of happenings that unfold with intent. And but they have to separate us, that they don't want us to know how it's all going to fall, how it's all going to happen. So they must separate our mind from how they do arrive. We must permeate your existence with mystery. So they want to keep us in the dark. And they go on to explain why. They say, we bring in the questions of your mind, the happenings external that feel off topic, that roam the wilderness of your mind and call forward the vast array of potential possibilities to entrain your vibration in what is happening now in time. So here they're kind of leading into, they're saying that, so they're basically, there's the confusion or sort of the things that we pursue that might not be the right thing, or the misdirections that we take, the sort of the spiral thoughts that we might get sometimes. They said that those help us to stay focused on here and now. They bring us into now time because we're sort of trying to think things through. We're trying to, strategize or think about it. It keeps us occupied and engaged is really what they're talking about, that it's engaged in our lives. So they go on to say, if you were to perceive the simplicity of the chain we provided, you would have lost the coming forward sensation. You would have begun to feel predictability, certainty, not confusion. And this we know you feel you would like. But we assure you, your lives led without mystery leads to dull endeavors, a throughput of less energy from the self, and exhaustion of your own drive to be well and harmonized as you are trying now. So they're really saying that if we, the chain of our life as we laid it out in advance, so they say it's a simple chain, like it's very clear there's certain landmarks in our life that we're meant to hit, right? Certain people we're supposed to meet, certain experiences we're supposed to have that maybe we pre-plan. But if we see all of that in advance, they're saying that it would take away our engagement in the life that we're leading right now, that that they say that we feel like we would like it. We really want to know. They say, but we assure you, lives led without mystery lead to dull endeavors. I love how they say that. They throughput of less energy from the self, exhaustion of your drive. So this is really what it's all about. How do they get us to being here? And why do we have the veil at all? Like, why do we have the veil? It's to keep us in this experience, to be engaged in what's happening, to be figuring it out. Like, what fun is a book if you read the last page first, right? So, okay, they go on to say, the exhaustion comes from knowing the outcome. It proceeds without drama and emotion felt, and must be known as what occurs without the confluence of your own experimentation, learning, and divine will inside your own choosing, divine beings that you are. Without these circumstances, we put toward your vision these red herrings that call you off course, obstacles we might introduce for your benefit to keep you intertwined in this now reality. You might let go of that which extrudes into your very timeline. So they're saying that they actually throw red herrings at us sometimes. They'll put things in our path that deliberately create a little bit of mystery, a little bit of confusion, that sort of like, oh, should I take this path or that path? Which one looks better? They're saying that sometimes they actually interject that into the process in order to keep us interested and to keep us guessing, keep the mystery in there of what's going to happen in our life so that it's not super predictable. And they said that if they didn't do that, that we might let go of our interest, let go of our drive to be here and to do all the things that we're meant to do and to have the experience. And it really gets back to, they're saying, to the emotions felt, right? They said proceeds without drama and emotions felt, because we're having an experience of emotion in this life. Like, that's kind of the whole earth thing, is like feeling emotion. So they go on to say, set adrift, you could become a vast empty hole of form without energy. To animate within, the form takes on life, but without meaning, the pursuit lies still and disharmony erupts in the being you are. We say, conform your expectation to understand the need for diversion, for those fields of operation and unsettlement that create your now reality. Allow and understand that dual purpose does it serve: to enchant your wild chase of circumstance not revealed, of opportunities not henceforth materialized. For they do begin a chain of understanding in the self. They do rise in the heart a longing, an awareness, and a drive in pursuit that ignites the field and energizes what comes your way. So this is the big paragraph. So they're saying, like, that part in the beginning about, wow, without drive, without will, they say, yeah, we take on form, like that we take on life, we have physical form, but there's no spark within that. There's that fire that comes in from your drive, your will of what it is that you want to achieve. That's the critical component. Like, you have to have desire to do things, to live, to experience, right? To whatever it is that animates you. That's the critical piece. And they're saying that they want us, they're saying, conform your expectations to this idea that we're going to have diversions, that we're going to have red herrings. And it feels a little bit like, for me, I made that offer on the house, but there was no sensation in my mind that had to be the one. There was like, oh, okay, if this is the one, I could see that could be a good life. And if it's not the right one, then a different one is going to be the right one. So I don't feel any attachment to it. I don't have any sense of loss or disappointment, because it's like, oh, well, there was something I wasn't aware of that makes that not the right one. There's going to be a better one, because I have complete faith that I'm going to be guided to the right one. But on the way, this process of looking helps to ignite my desire. And that is super true. Like, that's super true. Because before I went and made an offer on that house, I was much further away mentally from the process of actually making an offer. Like, there was a lot of mental work I had to make from my kind of place where I am right now, because I'm very settled, and moving is a big deal. You know what I mean? And so it took a lot for me to kind of make that mental shift into the mindset of looking and buying and moving and doing all that stuff. And this looking at this house got me there. So now it's like, now the energy is flowing. And that's what they're talking about, that these red herrings, if you kind of open up and say, okay, the process to getting to where you want to go is not going to be, okay, the first one is it. It's going to be like a process of getting the energies running, like starting the engine. And starting the engine means, okay, sample a little bit of this and sample a little bit of that. So like, in terms of like, if you're out there trying to find, Mr. and Mrs. Right, or Mr. or Mrs. Right, or whatever that is, you might need to date first in order to get the engine rolling, right? To get yourself in the mindset of meeting people, and then go through a little bit of dating and getting yourself acclimated to that idea, getting the energy moving in that direction. Then that leads you in the right direction, leads you to the ultimate place where you want to be. Okay, so, and they say here, they do rise in the heart a longing and awareness and a drive and pursuit that ignites the field and energizes what comes your way. So that's important, that it energizes what comes your way. So this process of going through these missteps, of going through this thing, which you might, in some cases, you might say, okay, that was a failure, right? Like I failed because I didn't buy that house, or I failed because I went for that promotion and didn't get it, or I failed because I tried this, whatever, tried for that date and it didn't happen, whatever it is, right? And they're saying, no, like, don't think of that as failure. They're saying, think of that as the process of getting your engine going, of getting the motion and the field energized, so that you can then magnetize the right one to yourself. You have to get things moving first. So they go on to say, so in the pursuit of what has not materialized, you do create what comes next upon the horizon. So yes, while a chain exists that you follow and create within, a trail blazed by ourselves with your input before arrival, it has the necessary components only when accompanied by your drive to live, your energized will and expression, which must create the outcomes we seek to employ. So they're saying here that, yeah, they create a whole chain for our life of all these things we're supposed to experience. Like there's, and it's, they're like little like crossroads in our life that we're going to pass by as we go. And they're saying, yeah, that's all laid out, but the necessary component for us to get there is we are the engine. Like we have to create the motion, the energy on the planet. So they can line all this stuff up, but if we're not in motion, it's not going to happen. So they want us to have like this whole thing of creating a little mystery, a little confusion. It's about drawing us forward, getting us to get excited, getting us in motion, getting us wanting something, longing for something, right? Igniting that in us so that then we can go further on the path. All right, so they go on to say, however, they cannot arise, and your drive will not appear unless and until you utilize the experience of longing, of trial and error, of learning and adapting and finding your way. For these energies of co-creation, we have put forth our role, our ability to keep you on guard in aligned frequency with that which you designed and purpose. But your effervescent, tumultuous twists and turns do delight us well and energize your mind and being. Okay, so they go on to say, see each opportunity missed, each closure of circumstance amiss, as a forming of the trajectory you require. Closer still you become with each lost mark. With each missed step you arrive. Do not fail to observe how luck unfolds for those who try. How going forward, how going toward an objective yields opportunities not found in the imaginings of planned experience. Feel in your heart that failure in form is just a word, a feeling to label the self pejoratively, to diminish your own light. So, okay, so they're saying a lot. They always say a lot. They always pack a lot into every sentence here, but they're saying, so they're wanting us to see, like I said, see every opportunity, each thing that doesn't happen for you, every time you try for something and it doesn't work out the way you wanted it to, that this is just the process of you forming the path, that these are necessary in terms of getting your engine started. They said with each thing that doesn't work out, closer still you become with each lost mark. This reminds me of something my dad has said. Back when he was in college, he sold cooking pans door to door to help pay for college. And door-to-door salesman, that is tough, right? That's a lot of rejection. And he said his strategy was that he kept track of the no's, that he would have a little book, and every time he knocked on a door and got a no, he would put a little hashtag, like that was a no. He would collect the no's because he knew exactly by doing this over time, he knew that if he got like 20 no's, he would get a yes. So all he had to do was keep going, and he just had to collect 20 no's, and then he would make a sale. So it was a complete shift in his perspective that the goal then became to get the no's, to get told no, because then he would make a sale. So it's kind of what they're saying here is that see every turn that doesn't work out, see it as helping you move further on your path of getting to where it is that you want to go. So find each turn of events that put you forward that you put forward an alignment on your path. Each circumstance a learning event to ignite your spirit and hone your recognition of the illumination that lights your way. Be brave, be true to what you desire, what pulls you now and calls you hither, beyond. Take that chance, be wide open and embrace what life offers. Live in harmony with the self, offering your light and in harmony with life. So this, I think, is bigger than it seems. What they're saying here is they're saying, yeah, be brave. Like, what is it that you really, really want? What do you feel? What excites you? What interests you? What lights you up? They're saying, pursue that. And they're saying, take the chance, whatever it is. It may feel risky, but take the chance, be wide open and embrace what life offers. And then this part, I think, is important. They're saying, live in harmony with the self, offering your light and in harmony with life. So this to me says that if we are not doing this, if we are not putting ourselves out there and engaging and figuring out what it is that we want and then putting energy towards that we are actually in friction with ourselves. So that would say that the experience of being in desire, the experience of being in motion, of moving toward the thing that you want, is the experience of life. And that makes sense, because think about, life is never standing still. Like this idea that there's energy is constantly changing, constantly in motion, constantly becoming something else. And if we are attempting to stay in one place, we are in friction against that natural process of constant change and constant evolution. So they're saying it's like live in harmony with the self. So your natural, like your human body, like if you think about it, every cell in your body changes over something like it's a ridiculously short amount of time, like 12 days or 14 days or something like that. Your cells completely regenerate throughout your entire body. Like you literally, your body is constantly renewing itself. It's never the same. Like it's literally constantly creating new you. and just look at the world. Like you go back to a place you used to frequent and all of a sudden it's something else. Like where I live, they're building so quickly. You come back to it and it's like, oh, there used to be a store there and now it's a high rise. Like it's boom, it changed. And but anyways, that's the experience of life, is this constant evolution, constant change. And they're saying that when we are in resistance, that when we're not full open, full wide, going for it, when we're not doing that, we're actually in friction against it. And I think that is an adjustment for us to think about, because I think we think that when we stand still, that is the place of rest, that's the place of no friction. But that's not true. That standing still takes effort and work and resistance, and puts you in resistance to life. And they're saying if you allow yourself to move into the flow of life, to take and let that flow pull you based on what you desire, that is actually a position of being in flow and being outside of resistance. So that, I love that just really, I think that really flips around and turns around what a lot of us usually think, that there's this idea that I just want things to stay the way that they are because they feel safe and I know what they are, right? And the problem that you know is better than the problem that you don't know, right? There's all this, I think, human psychology around keeping things the same. And they're saying, no, that takes a whole lot more work than actually getting into the flow and following what it is that you really want. Super interesting. So they go on to say, understand that all pours forth through the self for harmonic distribution on the plane of now, and live with breathing the effort of your expression. Feel the aliveness of wanting and let pour forth the desire from your being into now. Harbor no fear of failure. A word is no threat to your constitution of light. A word cannot yield the power to inhibit your expression of love should you choose not to let it. So the word being failure, so they say, failure is just a word. They're saying, don't let yourself make that. Don't let the fear of that. And they said it can't diminish your light unless you let it. It's just a fear. It's not real. They go on to say, be simple in mind, pursue your delight, live for expression, yield not to feelings that suffer, be employed in what moves the self, fall down and rise again. You are well, you are wise. You are beginning to see your field of employment and how you may rise within it. Be understanding that failure takes the bridge and makes connect your now reality into form. So they're saying that failure is part of the process of creation, that it's a pathway, it's a step towards creating what it is that you want. It brings you further into this field of creative expression. Let failing rise and fall and move through your field. Let your own being shine through. You can rise and become what you are meant to be. So really cool message. I think that one had so many bits in it, right? They do layer in the meaning in what they say. So there's interesting stuff there in layers, but I love just the major piece of the message there, which is really about like when you are in flow, when you are out there doing things, trying things, figuring out what it is that you want and taking steps toward it, that you are actually in less friction than you are. Like you're actually in flow and you're not in friction. And that is a necessary component of getting to where you want to go, that we can't get to where we want to go unless we're willing to go through those missteps, right? And that, so in other words, if you've ever tried something and failed and thought that told you shouldn't be doing it, maybe that's not the case, right? Maybe that was an important step on the path to getting where you're supposed to get. So anyways, hope you guys love the message. I thought this was a great one. Hope you guys did too. And I hope you enjoy the weekend. So I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye-bye.